How corrupt is the USA under Trump? Well, Texas, it's a democracy when they gerrymander, but when Virginia does it, it goes against democracy. Go figure.
A rigged election took place last night in the Great Commonwealth of Virginia, or so said U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday. He took to social media after Virginia voters approved a redistricting referendum on Tuesday, a decision that could flip up to 4 Republican-held seats in the House of Representatives. Trump, without proof, blamed mail-in ballots for the outcome of the vote. But Democrats welcomed the move, which increases their chances of winning control of the chamber in November. A Virginia court, however, blocked the state from enacting the new districts, saying lawmakers had not followed rules for the redrawing.
Got to admit, this is a very typical Trump, Viktor Orban, or Vladimir Putin move.
That comes after the Republican National Committee sued to block the referendum and will probably mean a final decision by the Supreme Court. It's all just the latest in a tit-for-tat battle by the parties over redistricting in various states. George Mason University political expert Jeremy Mayer says it's a dangerous road to travel.
So the legislature of a given state draws the lines for each congressional district. And in other states, gerrymandering has been very common, i.e. drawing lines with political intent. And I once explained this to members of the British Parliament, and one of them said, well, that's not the voters choosing their representative, that's the representatives choosing their voters. And that's what gerrymandering ends up doing.
The redistricting arms race began last July when Republicans in Texas heeded Trump's call to change the state's congressional map in hopes of flipping 5 Democratic-held seats. California responded with its own move to flip seats in favor of Democrats, and other states have followed suit. Here's Mayer again.
So the Democrats are saying gerrymandering is bad, but letting Trump win through gerrymandering is worse.
Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has called a special session next week to consider redrawing that state's map.
The Trump administration has rejected all 4 women farmers chosen by their peers to serve on the United Soybean Board, a rare intervention in what has long been a routine approval process. Normally, soybean farmers nominate their own representatives, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture signs off. This year, the USDA rejected at least 5 nominees, including 4 women, without providing an explanation. The move comes as the Trump administration works to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DE&I policies across the federal government.
So they're doing it everywhere, and it's nonstop hitting the American people, taking your freedoms away like you wouldn't believe. Now here we have another example. Yikes, where'd that just go? Holy moly.
Major news right now, while everyone's talking about this ballroom, the push by the White House to interrupt and interfere with the upcoming midterm elections is actively and rapidly growing. Here's what you need to know. Over the past couple weeks, you may have missed this, but the Department of Justice demanded from Wayne County, Michigan, essentially that the county hand over all ballots, receipts, and envelopes from the 2024 election under the guise of fighting fraud. Now, the DOJ is also demanding full, unredacted voter rolls, including Social Security information of all voters from 48 states and D.C. Now, let's talk about why this is happening in real time. The Trump administration is actively using federal agencies like the FBI and the DOJ, along with intelligence agencies, to manufacture doubt in the upcoming election and to make it look like they're uncovering fraud, but the reality is they're not. There's actually no evidence of any crises in our election systems. And now 59% of local election workers polled are fearing political interference, and 21% say they're unlikely to continue serving through 2026. This is ultimately what they want, right? They want us to have doubt in the upcoming elections so that they can ultimately justify interference by the time November comes around. And truly, the closer we get to the midterms, the larger this push becomes. Because right now, the checks that were in place to prevent this from happening after 2020, well, they've essentially all been gutted. And that's why it's important to counter this disinformation campaign that's happening right now. So spread the word, and I'll have more soon.
So Trump is back to rigging the election. He rigged them before, but didn't win. But now he's got to rig them even harder, hoping that he can win. He wants to stack the deck. The only way he's won in business, the only way he's won in life, and he's still doing it. He's created a situation where America is more corrupt than a third world country, or as corrupt as a third world country. And don't take it from me. There you go. Washington Post. Editorial board was fine with Republicans gerrymandering in Texas, but when Democrats responded in Virginia, it's a power grab that plunges America deeper into the gerrymandering abyss. So, one article was back in August 30th, 2025, the Texas gerrymander freakout. What's happening in the Lone Star State is not a threat to democracy. And then here we have April 21, 2026, Virginia plunges America deeper into the gerrymandering abyss. The redistricting scheme was always a power grab by Democrats. Voters went along with it. You see the difference? But here's the thing. Supreme Court of Virginia overturned a referendum. That is the vote by the people. Very rare to happen and very, very extreme. After this had gone back and forth in the judiciary, including the Virginia State Supreme Court, prior to the referendum. The referendum should have solved things. But no, not in Republico world. Not Republico. Didn't it used to be Republican at one time? Well, it's not anymore. It's Mega Republico. Then the story gets more convoluted because the truth keeps coming out. And what is the truth? The fact is the matter that you have a wannabe gangster that is not a good gangster, but it's just like giving a 12-year-old the keys to a brand new Corvette. And this is what you've done with the United States, giving it to Trump. The White House, this takes a lot of nerve. This comes from the White House. With King Charles, 2 kings. Come on. When are you going to wake up, people? This diversity, equity, inclusion as wokeism is just to divide you. You really do need to wake up. You can continue being cave dwellers and go around clubbing people around the world, or you could morph out of that pain and suffering mentality into a position of benevolence, harmony, abundance. Can you imagine that? Abundance for everybody? Unbelievable. You just need to make that choice. You just allow this to carry on the way it is, and people around the world are suffering because of a small percentage of the American people are not happy, so they're just going to self-destruct. Makes no sense, folks. Sending love and peace to everyone. Take care. Ciao for now. Be good.